It says we're live, but can anybody else? Well, I wouldn't say we cracked it. I would say that this is a very lo-fi version of what we plan to do, but you know what's going to happen as well. My phone's going to run out of battery in a minute, and then the Zoom connection is going to go anyway. But yeah, do you see anyone in the chat? Is there anyone still awake? I don't know. Is there anybody there? Is it? No? Right, okay. Right, so have you not added as a mic source? We didn't think of that, did we? Perhaps we should end the stream. Right, yeah, under mic and auxiliary, what do you see? You need to set it up for your mic.
How about now? How about now? How about now?
Well, I can hear you perfectly in Zoom.
Can anyone hear me? If you can hear me, say yes.
Testing.
Hear me, say yes.
I'm going to go onto the video and see if I can hear you. Hold on. Ah,
because I've put my audio input capture on. Oh, yes, they can hear me. They can hear me, Mark.
People can hear me.
Oh,
yes,
oh my
yes.
God.
Well, so I think we're live. We are good. It's working. It's absolutely working. Now, all I've got to do is send you I've got about 400 graphics and tables to send you. I'll just file them over now.
Absolutely. I can't believe we've got that working.
Oh my God. Jesus.
Anyone who's if you're one of the 127 people that are watching now,
well done.
You've been here from the start. Thank you.
I mean, if we had any merchandise yet, we'd send you some because, mind you, God, I'm knackered now. After that.
Should we just end? 45 minutes. Do our transfers, Mark, and leave?
God. I laughed, didn't I? I said, all we'll do is turn up to our transfers and bugger off, and actually, that's what we feel like doing now.
I knew it was that crappy box that BT had sent you. I knew using your phone would be better. That box is rubbish from BT.
Yeah, but I'm so angry. I mean, happy place, Turf Moor. Is that how I feel? It's just awful. I'm so angry about everything. I just cannot believe they just cut through my broadband. And
I know.
I mean, I was literally doing the tweet. I tweeted the image of me about to tweet that we're going live tonight at 9 o'clock. That was on Wednesday. And as I was typing the tweet, my internet connection went down. I opened my front door and the workman outside went, "Sorry, mate, we know what we've done. We'll report it. There'll be an engineer in within the hour." Within the hour, my arse.
You got mugged off by the Virgin reps.
I completely bought that. I was like, "Oh, okay. All right. No worries, mate. Thanks." Oh, God. Trusted the British workmen, didn't I? They're still here. They're up the road. So I could, I don't know, but he's not. He's thinking, "I'll tell him anything. I won't be here tomorrow." Oh, God. Anyway.
Well, I'm just putting a few messages out because obviously we've had people on Scout and Reddit and everywhere. So I'm just letting the world know that we are live. And in all that, I've drank one of these large beers. So
honestly, I looked in the fridge. I've only got one of these. And so, I've got to get through this. So the next thing is, we can't, you've got to show our teams on screen, but I can show you how to do that. I can talk you through it live on air, right? So
how can I show people your team? You're going to give me your password?
Because you can go onto the website and you can view my team, right? And then you can have that in the pane. So where the default image is now right, we can replace that with a new source, which will be the browser. So you can go to, if you open your browser and get FPL up.
Oh, hang on. I've messed something up. I've pressed
What have you done?
I've pressed something and now all our images have changed.
Oh, what have you done? Oh, you have moved the Zoom window, have you? That's what you've done. You've resized the Zoom window. Yeah. Don't resize the Zoom window. That's the first tip. Should be coaching as to do this live during the stream.
God, 411 people watching this absolute mess.
411 people are watching as learn how to do Streamlabs live on air. But we'll get there. We're talking at least. So, what you do, open a new browser window.
Okay.
Navigate to the FPL site.
Yep.
And then when you've added the Zoom images, all you need to do is do the same thing, window capture, and you just capture the window with the FPL website in.
Okay.
And then you place that where the default image is, over the top of the default image. So you resize it in there. Put it behind the background again.
I've created another
This is
Zoom.
what people want. This is the kind of content they want, right? This is.
I've created another Zoom another Zoom window.
Have you? Oh, all right.
I think it's too optimistic to.
We'll just talk for our team, shall we?
But I wish I could get. I need to get our images working. Hold on.
Yeah, we'll get it. We'll get it. Yeah, sort those out. We'll get it working for Wednesday. At least we've done a dry run now, right? So as now can host it. All we've got to do is get all the graphics and all the overlays set up before Wednesday. We can do that. I've got a plan. As I'm confident we can get this, and we're back on the road. Then that's it.
Oh God! I mean,
I
don't know what I've done to the.
We are back on the.
I don't want the Zoom things.
Just resize that Zoom window as it was. That's all you got to do. So if you as you move the Zoom window around, you will. Well, at least we've got audio at the very least.
I mean, I've done. The trouble is, I'm pretty pissed as well. So this isn't helping.
Well, that's not helping. No. I'm sober when I do this.
This is why you're in charge of these things.
I know. Well.
Let me just try.
Well, the show on Wednesday is going to be a lot more simple than it used to be, but we'll get there bit by bit. You know what? I reckon I can have a go hosting on my phone on Wednesday. Before Wednesday, we'll have another test.
Okay. Right. I've done something. Has that helped? Has that helped in any way?
I haven't got it. I'm not watching it live. Do I want to watch it live? Do I want to see what you've done to the images or not?
I've moved some things.
Yeah, I can see. Oh, dearie me. What a debacle.
Look, you know what? It's actually better than it was. At least the audio's still there, and I've got the images. I mean, they're not moving, but they're still there.
The images aren't moving though.
I know. Why aren't they moving?
I don't know. What have you done? Were they moving before?
I think so.
That's crazy. I don't know what you've done. Okay, well at least they've got audio. Let's talk about what we've done to our team, shall we? I haven't made my transfers, right? And we've only literally got 2 hours to make our transfers, right? So we're pissing about with it.
There's 700 people watching this. We're supposed to be like people say, "You guys, you're the pros. You know exactly what you're doing."
Well, we were.
Like,
we were pretty
experts.
good. We were pretty good. Do you want to try and capture Zoom again so it's moving? Because I don't understand how you've not.
What can I do? How can I get it moving? I don't understand why it's not. But
right, okay. Don't worry. All right. People will just have to listen. Right. Talk about your team, Az.
I think I fixed it.
Oh, have you? Is it working? All right, we're moving again.
I think I fixed it. I think I'm not going to touch anything. And
okay. I'm just going to refresh the video.
Can everyone see? Can everyone see both of us now? Like, am I moving? I think I've nailed it, Mark.
Have you? Have you fixed it? Have you literally fixed the images?
I think I fixed it.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah.
You have. You fixed it. You have.
Oh.
What did you do? What did you do? I'm all over the shop though, but never mind.
I don't know. I'm not going to touch anything. And
no, I'll coach you over the weekend. We'll get this sorted for Wednesday.
As long as we don't try and add in things like extra windows, and we're not doing. I mean, we can do live transfers, but I'm not touching anything. So
you can see. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll just talk about our teams. That's fine. Right. Okay. Have you got your team in front of you?
I can't touch anything.
Let's try to do some FPL content.
I'll tell you what we do. I'll tell you what. Like ultimate budget. I'll get my team up on my phone.
Oh, you're going to draw. I thought you were going to get a bit of paper with it. Hold on, just hold.
There you go. That's my team, everyone.
Deary me.
And I'll make the transfer live on my phone, and then.
Right. So, are you selling Salah?
God, you wouldn't get this on Let's Talk, would you?
No, he knows what he's doing. He's that's why he's got 100,000 subscribers.
Now fix your ranks as the chat.
Honestly, you if you say smash the likes and subscribe after this debacle, you are taking a piss.
How many people have we lost? That's the question.
Yeah, please come back when we've sorted this out, because we will sort this out. And it's not our fault. Bloody hell.
Right, should we talk FPL?
Yeah, let's do it. Right. So, first things first. You're selling Salah, right?
Salah is going tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, same it.
Yeah.
What do you make of it? I mean, there's nothing in the embargo stuff. I saw Andy's tweet. I haven't read it yet, but I can see that Andy said there's no more clarity there. So I'm kind of thinking, even if he's definitely not out of the Brighton game, right? So we know there's some chance he'll come back for Brighton. But I look at it and think I'll have De Bruyne at home to Burnley anyway. So that will probably be my captain over Salah away at Brighton. I would say. So, and I've just got doubts that even if he starts training before the Brighton game, is he going to be thrown straight back in? I guess he will if they don't get a result against Leicester. But don't forget they've got Champions League game in the week as well. He's not going to be available for that, surely. So it's just about whether or not he gets back in training and he's fit enough to play against Brighton next week. But to me, there's some doubt, right?
Yeah.
To me, even if there's like 10, 20% doubt, and also the complications of this, right? I don't want to. If I hold him, I've got to have all that money on the bench. And going into Monday, I'm still thinking, I don't know if he's going to be back at the weekend. I don't really want that. So for me, I'm getting rid. That's why. What about you? How are you thinking about it?
Yeah, I mean, something similar happened to me last year. I had De Bruyne. I was on my wild card. He was a minor doubt. So I think everyone knew he was going to miss at least 1 week, potentially 2. But everyone knew he was going to be back kind of soon. And I sold him, and it was a real pain getting him back. And I think it probably cost me quite a bit because I knew I wanted him back. I think I went for Mahrez over him on the wild card, and then was sort of clamouring to get him back. And in the end, I took a hit and got him back, and it was a bit of a disaster because Mahrez didn't do anything. But I feel like the replacements that we can get for Salah now are better than the Mahrez replacement that I got last year. So like with Fernandes and De Bruyne for Salah, I just think, I mean, De Bruyne is someone who I think everyone should be looking to get for those games. You know, I mean, Burnley, West Brom, Fulham in 3 out of 4 games at home. It just doesn't get any better. So I honestly think De Bruyne is an absolute must. So the sensible option for me is to just do Salah to De Bruyne and just have it and just have him there. And then it gives me, you know, a bit more flexibility getting Salah back because I have, in theory, another transfer. Because if I'm doing Salah to Fernandes, then I'm also going to have to next week do Son to De Bruyne, and then how am I going to be getting Salah back in for that Fulham game? So the sensible option is for me just to get in De Bruyne, but I'm looking at that West Brom game and I'm just thinking, I really want Fernandes for that.
Well, I'm in an enviable position because I've got 2 transfers, and the 2 transfers I'm going to make is exactly what you just said. I'm probably going to go Salah to Fernandes, Son to De Bruyne.
Yeah, if I could do that even for a hit, I would.
See, the thing is, I actually thought that was a dilemma because I was like thinking, is De Bruyne definitely going to outscore Son this week? And also, I'm taking De Bruyne into Europe in midweek, and he could get an injury quite easily. And then so I'm committing to De Bruyne now rather than getting him Friday next week after the European game. So there is some risk, and also Son has got a good record against City. I think he scored in something like the last 4 against them or something. So I don't think it's as cut as dry as you're making out, but to me,
but you've got Kane as well.
Yeah, I know. So I don't want to go in.
If you're picking 2 players, like if I just said to you, you can pick 2 players for the City Spurs game, you wouldn't pick 2 Spurs players.
No,
you'd probably go one of each.
And the one of each would probably be Kane and De Bruyne.
Exactly. So why not just do it? Why not just do it?
Yeah, no, that's what. Well, the dilemma is that means I've got to go into game week with bloody Podence still in my team. That's the dilemma, and he's a nice little player. He's I'm sure he's a lovely guy.
He's not a good option.
I'm getting a little bit sick of him, to be honest. And he's
you got Trent as well, haven't you?
Yeah, still got Trent, but I can't.
Hang on, I won't bring it up on the screen, but let me just
what are you going to bring
team. Up? I'll just go through your team for anyone who's
yeah, go on. Listening. That's a good idea for the
because it does feel a little bit like you're making some luxury transfers when you've got some pretty. Because I was looking at your team earlier and I was thinking, because you've got McCarthy.
What do you mean? What are you trying to say there? What was that?
Well, you've got McCarthy in goal. You've got Alexander-Arnold, who's like I'm amazed you're not even talking about getting rid of, because surely he needs to go, even if he wasn't injured.
He does need to go.
I think maybe a little Friday night wildcard mark.
Listen, if we'd have made a better job with the feed and we'd have got graphics up, I would have thought about it. I ain't playing my wild card in a week where we cannot barely get this thing out, and it's what is
well,
it?
your team is McCarthy, Trent, Chilwell, James, Souček, Podence, Grealish, Salah, Son, Kane, Calvert-Lewin, and then on your bench you've got Steer, Eiling, Dean, and Brewster. So straight away, look at your team. Your issues are Trent and Podence and Salah.
Yes. But
so surely you move Salah and Trent out.
Why though? Because my back three is going to be Chilwell, James, and Dina. And if James doesn't turn up, I've got Ayling coming on, which isn't bad, right? So that's my defence. It's pretty good. Well, very good, I'd say. I think Dina's going to be all right for me at Fulham, and Chelsea at Newcastle may get a clean sheet.
Yeah, you're playing Dean, surely.
Right. So those three are okay, right? Midfield is a problem because it's Podence in there. If I play 5 across the midfield and I move Salah out for Fernandes and Son out for De Bruyne, it would be Fernandes, De Bruyne, Grealish, Souček, Podence. Not great, I agree, right? Up front, Kane and Calvert-Lewin, nothing wrong with that. So the issue is, yes, Podence is a problem. Souček, I'm all right playing at Sheffield United, to be honest, because they're conceding aerial balls. Antonio might play as well, so that increases, Souček's not, getting in the box off knockdowns and so on. So I'm all right playing Souček, but Podence is a problem. So the problem with getting rid of Trent is, who do you get in? I could get Creswell at Sheffield United and play 4 at the back, right? And then that would mean that I could then not have to play Podence, I guess. But then I've got to get De Bruyne next week. And if I get De Bruyne this week in for Son, I can get Cancelo in for Trent next week with my one transfer, and then have enough money after that to get Salah back in for Fernandes for game week 12 for the Fulham game.
Okay.
So that's my plan. And so the reason I'm holding Trent is next week's transfer will be Trent to Cancelo, which will mean I'll have Cancelo and De Bruyne in for the Burnley game.
So there's a big name you're missing there.
Go on.
You're not thinking of Vardy?
No.
No. See, I was hoping you'd say that, because I definitely am.
Yeah, if I had some stats, if I could show you some stats, I'd show you some stats. But as we know, Vardy's not a stat player, so you don't bring up expected goals and go, "Oh, Vardy's rubbish." I understand that. And yeah, Vardy's a good bet, and I did have him in my plans. And there's no reason why I can't go Kane to Vardy in a couple of weeks' time. Or it might be that Trent's fit for next week, and I don't sell him, and I don't get Cancelo, and I could go Kane to Vardy then if I want to. But if I go Trent to Cancelo, it gives me the money back to get Salah back in. That's the thing.
That's the thing. I think if we're selling Salah, see, it's why I quite like the Salah to Mane move, because at least you've kind of got that easy route back into him, like when you decide you want him. So that's another thing that I am actually considering, probably more than I was yesterday or in the last few days, just because. I mean, the plan that I've got. So my team, just quickly, is Martinez in goal, Chilwell, Semedo, Lamptey, fine for this week. Salah, Son, Ziyech, Grealish, Kane, Calvert-Lewin, and the absolute stinker that is Mopé. And then
is he still there?
He's still there. And then Souček on my bench. So I'm half tempted to play Souček over Mopé, to be honest. But it's the pens that make me want to play Mopé, because he doesn't need to have a good game, but he could still get a pen. So yeah, I'm between those two. But I mean, my thinking, what I'm probably going to do is Salah to Fernandes, and then next week move out both of my Spurs attackers for De Bruyne and Vardy.
Right. Take a hit next week.
Yeah. So take a -4 next week. The issue with that is that I don't have an easy route back to Salah, and I'll still have Semedo going into a pretty tough run of games in Arsenal, Liverpool, Villa, Chelsea. So I mean, Arsenal I guess isn't too bad for Semedo, because Arsenal can't score, and then Liverpool. I mean, Liverpool's not great. I mean, I suppose the fixtures aren't too bad for Semedo, but I mean, he's 5.5 million, and it feels like quite a lot for him because he hasn't really done that much. But yeah, I mean, the problem is that I don't have a quick fire way back into getting Salah. Because I mean, that game week 12 game, and I was kind of saying this on my article I did on the Scout the other day. If you've sold all your Spurs players and you've got Fernandes and De Bruyne, well, Fernandes and De Bruyne play each other. It's the Manchester derby, and Spurs have Palace, so I wouldn't have either of those. And then Liverpool have Fulham. So it's like, who do I really captain in that game? I mean, the obvious option is Vardy against Brighton, but I mean, if I'm going in with a Vardy captain against Brighton and there's Salah there with Fulham away, and I haven't got any Liverpool attackers, I haven't got Mane or Salah, I'm going to be, bricking it.
Why can't you get Salah back? I don't understand.
Well, I can, but it's not easy, is it? Because I mean, who do I get him in for? I get him in for. I'm not selling De Bruyne because after the United game, he's then got Fulham, isn't he?
I'm happy to sacrifice Fernandes for Salah.
Yeah, but I won't have any money in the bank.
Ah, right. Well,
Salah's like two.
Well, that's your fault for getting Vardy, right? Why? I mean, yeah, I know Vardy's strong, but that's the problem. I don't plan to keep Kane necessarily for the long haul. I'm going to see how he does in the next couple, but eventually I'm going to flush that money out of my forward line, I think, because Antonio's fit now, right? So to me, if Antonio's fit again, he's the player I want up front.
So you'd have no problem selling Fernandes back for Salah in game week 12?
I would personally, yeah. I don't think Fernandes necessarily is a player I want to keep forever over. I mean, we can't have them all, can we? Right?
This is the thing, though. Like this is what's really annoying me about this decision is that Fernandes. I feel like if I'm getting Fernandes, I want him in for the long term because I feel like he's going to keep delivering all season. He's a good pick. I think anyone that's got him,
of course, right? But he's not. Is he going to score as many points as Salah?
Yeah, but look, his next three. So if you're bringing him this week, and you're bringing him this week over the likes of like Vardy, De Bruyne, and all that. He's got West Brom at home. Okay, amazing fixture. Then he's got Southampton away, West Ham away. They're not that good fixtures. And then City.
Yeah, but West Ham and Southampton's defences aren't mugs either, right? So
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. So you're bringing in Fernandes properly for the short term, but that short term isn't actually that great, apart from the West Brom game.
Yeah, it is. No, but he's going to be captained by an awful lot of managers, and I've got 2 free transfers.
Captained by
if I didn't have 2 free transfers, I'd agree with you, and I'd probably go De Bruyne.
This is it. This is why I think our positions are different, because I think when you've got the 2 transfers, it gives you an easier way back into Salah. If I just simply do Salah to De Bruyne, I've got the player in place who I want long term, and I've got I can do Son to Salah in a few weeks a lot easier than if I didn't. So
yeah, if I had 1 transfer, that's what I would do.
But then I really want Fernandes. But I don't want him. I don't want him just for a few weeks. I want him for a prolonged period.
I'm willing to get Fernandes in just for this week and captain.
But that's the luxury of having 2 transfers, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's why I've put myself in that situation. I mean, I'm all in on De Bruyne and Cancelo for the next 4 after the Spurs game. The next 4.
Toby Lansdale in the chat says Bruno has never blanked away from home in the Premier League.
Yeah, well, is that true?
Is that true?
His away record is astonishing. His home record, best not look at that because you start thinking he's not worth buying for West Brom. I mean, again, I've got stats the stats I had prepared for midweek were really good, but we can't use them.
It's 3 away. I just had to look at his 3 away games this week, just thinking, maybe I can catch him out here. Everton away, 17 points. Newcastle away, 11 points. Brighton away, 12 points. That's unbelievable.
I'm going to get my stats out because I've got them here. At least I can read them out, right? So this is... so I had a look at Fernandes home and away this season and last. And it is pretty crazy. So Fernandes this season, for minutes per goal, minutes per shot on target, minutes for everything, right? He's far, far stronger away from home. Minutes per shot, 22.5 minutes away from home, 37.5 at home. Minutes per shot on target, 38.6 away from home, 100 minutes at home. And you look at last season, it's exactly the same, right? So you look at last season when he arrived at the club, his away stats are all stronger, apart from his chance creation. His chance creation is pretty good at home. But when it comes to goal threat, it's astonishingly strong away from home. But the problem this season as well is if you look at his non-penalty XGI, it's not particularly good.
Well, I mean, like Andy said in the stream yesterday, I mean, you look at United's home games this season, and they haven't exactly been easy. I mean, Arsenal,
No, that's
Spurs, Chelsea. I mean, you're not expecting massive things. I don't know if you saw my article that I did for Fantasy Scout a few weeks ago. I was looking at.
No, I didn't. Tell us more about the article you did for
the one I sent you on the mail.
Oh shit! Did you? Oh, sorry about that.
I was just looking at the difference between De Bruyne and Fernandes to see, you know, who I thought was best. And I mean, the real thing I noticed was De Bruyne's fixtures. I mean, as everyone has. In terms of stats, though, what I found interesting was De Bruyne seems to be off form a little bit in terms of the chances he's creating. If you look at his chances created compared to Fernandes, they're the same this season, but the vast majority of De Bruyne's came earlier in the season, so before we got that injury. Fernandes is the complete opposite. So he's been creating a lot more chances recently than he was at the start of the season. So almost like he's kind of growing into the season more than De Bruyne is.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, it feels like this is the problem. Like you go without Fernandes, but it feels like it's the perfect blend of. He's got the form, okay, not so much in the home game, but I mean, it's West Brom. Let's be honest. If United don't win that game comfortably, then there's going to be loads of questions asked about Solskjaer and what United are building. So you've got to think United are going to win that game. And the stats look like Fernandes is going to get a decent haul in that. So it feels like if you go without him, you kind of resign yourself to a haul from him this week, in a week where so many people have bought him in. And you just take that on the chin and hope that De Bruyne or whoever it is, you know, does better in the weeks to come.
But maybe you just got to go for Fernandes to forget Salah for the Brighton game.
Yeah, well, I'm not worried about Salah for the Brighton game.
Okay. It's game week 12 for Fulham, isn't it?
It's the Fulham game. I just going without Mane or Salah for that Fulham game is
Salah's away record's not stellar.
Fulham. You wouldn't captain Salah against Fulham.
Yeah, of course I would, and I probably will if I get in. But I'm in your shoes. I mean, it's whether or not you think Bruno against West Brom at home is going to be stronger than Salah at Fulham, and I think it could be. Yeah,
well, that's a good way. That's a good way of looking at it. To be fair, that's a good way of looking at it. But I mean, if obviously Fernandes doesn't get a massive haul against West Brom, then you're going to spend the next 3 weeks kicking yourself that you kind of locked yourself out of.
You don't know. Salah. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen to Salah. You don't know if he's going to come back, get a knock, or you just don't know. I mean, you could be setting the team up now for Salah to get Salah against Fulham, and anything could happen, as we've seen.
Right.
So that's the thing. It's like when you're making plans, I guess you've got to be careful not to plan too far ahead and take too much for granted, because this season you can't, can you? So, that's why I'm worried about getting De Bruyne this week. So I'm kind of going, well, I'm getting De Bruyne because I want him for next week. Well, that's still 7-8 days away, and then it can happen. He's got a European game, and who knows with COVID.
Yeah.
So it's not. That's why I'm worried about getting Son for. I mean, I could easily just make one transfer, Salah to Fernandes, keep my two, but I'm looking at it thinking De Bruyne is probably going to do well at Spurs. He's probably going to outscore Son. I would say every model suggests that is the case. And some people are even thinking about captaining De Bruyne if they don't have Fernandes. And if City probably need to get 2 goals, won't they, at Spurs, which they've struggled to get 2 goals this season, but they're probably going to need them against Spurs. And you've got to think De Bruyne is going to have a hand in at least one of them. It's difficult to imagine them scoring a couple of goals.
There's something I read which was De Bruyne playing further forward against the kind of the better teams as well, because they're going to play in theory Rodri and Gundogan or Rodri and Ndidi or whatever, and then De Bruyne gets licensed to go up.
I had some stats on this. Against the top 6 last season, he got 6 goals. He was the most potent midfield player against the top 6 teams last season. Rashford also got 6, but he was a forward last season, of course. So he does it against the big 6, right? You don't look at the fixtures and go, oh, it's a hard game for De Bruyne. If anything, he raises his game against those teams. So you'd expect him to do something at Spurs, I think. So
it's funny though, isn't it? I mean, with De Bruyne, I mean, he's been disappointing from an FPL perspective. I don't think his penalty was awful, but apart from that, he's played well. But for people who have maybe got him back after the injury and stuff, I think you're definitely disappointed with kind of the returns he's had. I mean, he looks so good in that Wolves game, and then in the game since. I mean, I've watched him, and it reminds me of not last season, but all this. I think last season was his amazing season. The season before that, he was injured. The season before that, I had him for large spells of that season, and he's he's a 9 million, 10 million midfielder. You know, the City win the ball back, and De Bruyne just kind of trots, like, sort of semi near the opponent's penalty area. And you look at that compared to other players around the same price who were like sprinting into the penalty area and stuff, and looking really dangerous. And you see De Bruyne kind of, just kind of ambling along because he's happy. He's happy to drop deep.
You talk about the Sheffield United game in particular. I mean, against Sheffield United, they just took the goal and then we're just going to manage this out. Yeah, I mean, they are doing that this season. They're not. I think it's whether it's a way of preserving energy and not.
It was against Leeds as well, because I mean, I captained him in that Leeds game. The Leeds game, which was like ultra attacking. I mean,
I think they were going full tilt against Leeds from what I saw.
De Bruyne wasn't though. I mean, from what I saw, it looked like De Bruyne was happy to dictate from more of the centre.
Yeah.
So I mean, I could be completely wrong about that, but
the thing is, when they start chasing the game.
Yeah, having in captain.
When they chase the game, he plays deeper.
Yeah,
bizarrely.
Yeah, exactly. And you've got him captain in a ridiculously open game like that, where you're looking at players like Bamford and Sterling and stuff who are there's just like chance after chance after chance, and then you see De Bruyne just standing on the halfway line. It's frustrating. So the stats don't point either to a sudden massive resurgence of De Bruyne suddenly.
No, I totally agree with you. And I looked at the data and I had some to show, and it's the minutes per big chance is the problem. Minutes per chance created is 24 minutes this season compared to 21 last season, so that's more or less the same. And minutes per shot is actually up 24.8 this season. It was 28.3 last season, but it's minutes per big chance created. Last season, he created a big chance every 84 minutes. So every match, he was guaranteed to create a big chance. And when you're creating big chance for City strikers, Sterling or any of the Aguero or Jesus, you're going to get an assist probably. This season, he's created a big chance every 236 minutes. So it's like every 3 matches, which is ridiculous.
Crazy, isn't it, for him?
Yeah. It's just not happening in terms of, but City as a whole aren't creating good opportunities. They're creating chances that the quality of that chance hasn't been good enough. And that's why they've not scored more than 1 goal for 5 game weeks.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to need more than 1 goal against Spurs. I mean, and what do you make? I mean, do you get Pep signing the contract? A lot of people saying, maybe the reasons for their malaise is the fact that Pep was umming over the contract, and now that's signed, it's going to.
I mean, I don't often agree with Mourinho, but I did quite like his comment today where he kind of said, what it was, it's great that he's signed it, happy for him, like he seems happy and blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's all lovely, but at the same time, does it matter? Like if Barcelona come calling for him in a year's time and he wants to leave, he's going to go. Like does it change? Doesn't really change anything, does it? It's just like getting a pay rise at work, isn't it? He's probably got another 30, 40 grand and everyone's happy because he's re-signed. I mean, it
is stability. I mean, if you're in his team, and he's obviously a big influence on all those players, particularly De Bruyne. But the thing is, though, you look at City's fixtures, and now you're really going to look at those games and go, I'm not going to get a City player. And if you are going to get a City player, who do you go for? You can't go for Jesus or Aguero because Aguero's coming back, so they're going to be in rotation. Sterling, maybe if you're really seeking a differential, and he could easily. I mean, like Sterling's like a time bomb. We know he's going to go off eventually, but
there is
when's that going to be?
There is absolutely no way that I will go into Burnley at home, Fulham at home, West Brom at home in 3 out of their 4 games without De Bruyne. There is -4, -8, -12. Whatever happens, then I need to get. It's just happening. He's the captain for those 3 games. It's too good. They're too good games. If he blanks in all 3, I gave it a go. See you next season. But
so no matter what data we look at, no matter how much we go, he's on the halfway line, you're still going to get him in for those games.
Is it. It's for me. It's purely about this week. Do I get in De Bruyne as a kind of early move, ignore Fernandes for like probably the best fixture of the season and just take whatever he gets on the chin and hope he doesn't carry it on? Or do I get Fernandes in and then kind of resign myself to finding it harder to go without Salah And
What are you doing at 8 o'clock on Saturday night? Have you got anything else to do other than watch Man United West Brom? Because I wouldn't want to be watching that game without Fernandes.
I think realistically, I'm gonna do Salah to Fernandes tonight, and then I'm gonna get De Bruyne and Vardy in. I think that's what I've been planning for a while. I mean, the news today. I mean, Klopp says he thinks Salah's back in Liverpool, and he's had no symptoms. So yesterday, the update I had, or I was kind of going with, was that Salah had mild symptoms and he was still in Egypt.
Did he?
That's what I heard. I heard he had mild symptoms.
He definitely is back because there was images today of him on the flight. I think with El Neni.
So if he tests negative, and he's had no symptoms and he's just back for Brighton, then it's painful for both of us, isn't it? But I guess you're not worried?
I'll be captaining De Bruyne anyway, so Salah wouldn't be my captain. And anyone with De Bruyne, and let's face it, I think most of the players we know and share the meta with or whatever will have De Bruyne and will probably captain De Bruyne, I think. So actually Salah will be a differential captain that week. So I'm not as fearful of Salah at Brighton if I don't have him than I am of not having Fernandes for tomorrow, to be honest. Because I think the majority of managers will get Fernandes and captain him.
Yeah.
Who have got the opportunity to do so, right? And
the thing
is,
Salah
at Brighton, they'll have De Bruyne, I think, and so they won't captain him.
I think it's difficult with such a popular move, isn't it? Because you kind of think to yourself, you look around. I mean, I've seen FPL General, I've seen. Andy's talking about getting Fernandes. I mean, you're talking about like lots of people who good. I'm not going to say experts. You're not experts. You're veterans.
No,
whatever you want to call it. People are talking about it. And when that happens, you've got to think there is some kind of logic to it, which there is, obviously, because West Brom at home. So you look at it and you think, well, can I be a bit different here? Like, can I see any reason why that isn't a good move and I can move elsewhere? It's hard. I mean, I think getting De Bruyne in over Fernandes isn't a bad move because of what De Bruyne's got. But I think you've nailed on the head. I mean, it will be a painful watch because it's just such a popular move. I mean, it was something that I wasn't considering doing before the Salah news because I think it would have been too difficult for me. I think it was all about targeting the City. Targeting De Bruyne and moving Kane. I think I would have kept Kane and Son for this week and then moved them on next week for free.
Right.
The Salah news is interesting because it kind of changes everything. But it's 1 week, and then if he's back for Brighton, suddenly you're thinking, oh God, how do I get Salah back in? Because if Salah was fit, you'd never be considering selling him.
No, that's very true. And I was going to go Son to Fernandes instead because I had the exact money to do.
So you were planning on Fernandes even before the Salah news?
Yeah, I mean, because the way I'm playing this season is, if there's an obvious captain, and I haven't got them, I need to get them. Is my view, because if you don't, anyone who's wildcarded has got Fernandes and he's going to captain them. So that's everything. I would say more or less 90% of wildcards that have been played this week will have Fernandes and will probably captain him, I would say. Do you not think? So that's all the wildcard managers have got him and will captain him, right? So, and then you've got all the managers who've had him before, which, is a decent amount, and they will probably captain him as well. So it's a big swell of active managers will captain Fernandes. So I looked at it and think, I've got to have him, because if you don't, it's just the penalties, isn't it? That's the thing. If he wasn't on penalties, you think, well, there's a good chance the luck won't go his way. But in a game against West Brom, where you look at West Brom's record and it's pretty awful. I mean, I think I did have data on this as well. Let's go to the captain's data I've got. So West Brom's defensive record, what is it? So minutes per expected goals conceded is every 56 minutes. There are minutes per big chance conceded every 37 minutes. So they're probably on average, they've conceded 3 big chances a game. So you've got to think.
I just can't shake the feeling that despite what I've seen from Fernandes, despite the away form, despite a lot of stuff, I just can't help but feel that De Bruyne and Vardy, over a prolonged period, so over 3 or 4 weeks, are better picks than Fernandes. That is how I feel. I feel like Fernandes for this week obviously is the best pick by a country mile. So is his potential in this one game, does that outweigh the potentially better picks of KDB and Vardy going forward, and Salah when he's back as well? This is what's stressing me out. Because I feel like if I avoid Fernandes and he doesn't, and he gets 12 points or whatever, but then Salah, Vardy and De Bruyne get way more than that, and Fernandes doesn't do so well over the games, which I don't expect him to do that well in, then it was worth avoiding him. But equally, Fernandes could carry on doing well because he's got the away form, and I mean Southampton and West Ham, they're not going to be. I don't think they're easy games for United, but I still wouldn't back against him getting some return.
No, and he's more effective away from home, as we've seen. The thing with Vardy is he got 6 penalties of his 8 goals, and so if penalties are a factor for considering Vardy, surely they're a factor for considering Fernandes as well.
Yeah, but Vardy's games are better. Like,
But
Vardy's fixtures. I mean, you talk about De Bruyne's fixtures with those 3 out of 4 games. I mean, 3 games in a row for Vardy of Fulham at home, Sheffield United away, and Brighton at home. They're fantastic games. I mean, Vardy against Brighton, he's going to eat us alive the way we play.
Yeah, he does well against you always, doesn't he?
Yeah, because we attack, and because because we don't learn that he's a striker that thrives.
I mean, I'm not discounting Vardy. Like, I can go Vardy next week if I want to, rather than get Cancelo. But then I'd have to get rid of Kane, and I actually still fancy Kane to do all right.
If I'm picking one of Fernandes or Vardy for the next 3 weeks, I'm picking.
You'd
Vardy.
rather have Vardy, would you? But you're going to captain Vardy on any of those game weeks?
I'd captain gave me 12 if I didn't have Salah against Brighton.
But it's just for me. It's just the effective ownership of Fernandes this week is going to be so big.
You're a wimp with your EO.
Well, but it's if anyone, as I say, anyone wildcarding will have him, right? So all those managers that have played their wildcard, Simon March, big boy back home.
But it's not just 1 week. That's the thing. It's not just 1 week. Like if you don't think he's going to do well against West Ham and Southampton, then he's not someone that you want to be paying that much for. You're not going to captain him in those because you're going to carry. No. But if I have to carry him into those games, I'm not going to worry about that, am I? But the plan will be Fernandes back to Salah, because I can do it. I can do it for a hit, right? I can go Cancelo for a Trent, and then Fernandes to Salah straight away for a hit, and have Salah against Brighton. So we're getting some questions in the chat.
Go on.
I've seen it a few times. I said we've seen it a few times. It's Miro, who asked like 4 times. Is Calvert-Lewin a good captaincy option? And I think that is another reason why. The thing is, I'm saying this, I probably am going to go for Fernandes because I do think he's the strongest captain pick this week. But if I didn't have Fernandes, I think Calvert-Lewin would definitely be my next pick.
Yeah,
Richarlison back, Dean, Rodriguez.
What about Grealish?
Yeah, me and Andy talked about this last night. I love Grealish. I love him so much. Probably not as much as you do, but I do love him. But I don't. That Villa Brighton game is hard to call. Whereas the West Brom United game shouldn't be hard to call on paper.
No,
it should be a resounding United win. I can't see. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Villa beat us 3-0, but I wouldn't be surprised if we beat them. I would be absolutely amazed if West Brom beat United.
Yeah, and Fulham, Everton. You think that Everton are going to?
Yeah, and I think Everton. I mean, if Everton have got any hope of keeping on to top 4, top 6, they need to get a good win against Fulham. They need to show that they're not just losing to teams like Newcastle and they've got the full strength team back pretty much. I think that's going to be a comfortable win for Everton. So I think if you haven't got Fernandes, I think Calvert-Lewin would definitely be my next pick.
And everyone's back. I mean, Richarlison's back. Rodriguez is back. So as long as he's got enough leg room on the coach,
I like Richarlison. I'm seeing a few teams with Richarlison in. Shout to in my cash league.
If I was wildcarding, I'd go Richarlison over Calvert-Lewin probably because.
Would you?
You'd want.
I'm seeing a double up.
I mean, would you? Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But the thing is, with Antonio fit as well, I'd probably. Well, I don't know. We've got to see him playing again, I guess, before you risk it. But as I said, I think I said when I was on the surgery podcast on Monday, getting when you play your wild card, you want to get some differentials, right? And it's kind of tricky in midfield because everyone's going to want Grealish, De Bruyne, Fernandes for start, and then you're probably going to try and get in Ziyech as well, right? So that's the template. That is the midfield template. So it's hard to resist that. So up front, you want to try and be a little bit different. So are you going to go Calvert-Lewin? You probably might have to, but I think Richarlison's the option now. He's the same price now as well, isn't he? He's on pens. Yeah. I think that's it. I mean, yeah, I look at Everton. I think they probably will win that game, and Calvert-Lewin's record, I think he's failed to score in one game so far, hasn't he? So you've got to think he'll get something, but not necessarily. With Richarlison back, they can go and win 2-0 and Calvert-Lewin might blank. So
I think that you're one of the few who've still got Dean after all this time. I'm happy with that. Great option this week.
Yeah, you should do all right. I'll be disappointed if I don't get a return of some kind. So yeah.
Well, I'll tell you who I've got who obviously been quite popular, but I think if we didn't have all the Salah news, I think we might be seeing more of him. Is Ziyech.
Oh, Ziyech. Yeah.
Ziyech.
I mean,
so
this is the other.
Yeah.
I could do this week. I could do Salah to Fernandes, Podence to Ziyech. I've got the money to do
Ziyech. Ziyech is mine. You can't have him.
That's what I was. So that was the dilemma I had. I think, should I not get De Bruyne this week? Should I get Podence out, get Ziyech in, and then take a hit next week? Well, I wouldn't even have to take a hit. I think I can go. No, I can't. I can't go Trent to Cancelo, Son to De Bruyne. I can't afford that. So I'd have to get rid of Kane probably, and then keep Trent a bit longer. But it would get rid of Podence for me. But I just think I'm going to have to keep it. I mean, the thing, Wolves are playing Monday night as well, aren't they? Right. So I'd have little Podence to amuse me on Monday night, which you never know. He might turn up again. He was good last time on a Monday night, wasn't he? So, against Palace, he did all right. So,
well, because there's some people in the chat saying Ziyech captain. I mean, Newcastle not being. I mean, Newcastle are a funny team. I mean, we talked about them. I think the last Black Box we did, which was a few weeks ago. I said to you, really attacking team now, Fraser and Wilson and all these great attacking players, and they played like 5 centre mids or something in one game, and it was like the most boring match. I can't remember who they played. And then Wilson got injured, and they lost, didn't they? Who was that against? Let me check it up. That was against Southampton. Because it was an awful game if you were a Newcastle fan. I think they were terrible in that match, and Southampton absolutely rightly, thrashed them. So. Yeah, suddenly I'm looking at Newcastle thinking, are they actually that good? I mean, they beat Everton the week before, but then they have a game like they did against Southampton, and you think, oh, actually, maybe not that great.
I'm just looking at their last one. They don't, in terms of big chances conceded, only Tottenham have conceded fewer in the last 4 game weeks. So they concede chances, but not big chances. So Chelsea will have lots of shots, but I don't think they're going to get many clear-cut chances. So that is why you back that up by you look at the Darlow saves. That's why he's done so well for saves, because they've actually conceded lots of chances. They give a lot of space to shots from range, I guess, but they don't actually give away much in the XG areas around the penalty area. So Ziyech could be still a good bet because we know he can score from range. So expect to see a few from outside the box, I reckon.
There you go. Look at that. How's that for insight? Ziyech from range. I mean, he was, because I feel like we haven't really spoken about him because obviously we didn't do the podcast last week, and they had the game then. I mean, but Ziyech, I just thought
I want him.
He was. I mean, I made the decision to sell because I had Pulisic and he was injured, and I thought, we should be back after the international break. So I might keep him. But then I talked to you earlier about it, and I said the left side of Chelsea just is a mess. Like, who is going to play? Because Abraham is kind of unlocking everything, really, for them. So I think Werner's going to carry on out on the left for a while now.
Yeah.
Where does that leave Pulisic? He's probably, arguably Chelsea's best player. Where does he play? I'm done with that. Like, I don't want that headache. So
well, he's not. I don't think he's going to be back. He's going to be back for another few weeks. I mean, they're not going to take any risks for him.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the other thing with him is, the injuries are so common with him. Switching from Pulisic to Ziyech, I think is definitely the best transfer I've made this season. Yeah, so I'm really happy with it. And I just, when I watched Ziyech at Ajax last year, I thought every time I watched him, I thought he just every game he just class a bit like De Bruyne. Like you just watch him and you just know he's just a really classy, clever player. Like,
Oh
exact
yeah.
opposite of me when I try and play football. And when I watched Ziyech in his last match against Sheffield United, the way he glides, the way he takes the ball, and he just it's like he doesn't. It's like he's not even trying. He just can effortlessly beat players. He puts balls in that like you can only dream of. He is like a kind of De Bruyne type player. I think 8.2, 8.3, 8.2 million for him. I honestly think it's just absolute steal. It's an absolute steal.
I agree with you, and that's why I'm kind of torn as to what to do, because I can do that move, but then I don't have De Bruyne yet, and I'll have to take a hit next week. But it's just a hit, right? And it means I've got Ziyech in there, and I get rid of Podence. So I've got just over an hour to make up my mind.
Oh God, the count! It's like we should have a countdown. It's going down to like
We're not going to go all the way through to 1:30, but yeah, is it 1:30? I think it is, isn't it? Yeah. I'm not decided yet. I'm gonna obviously we'll end this and I'll have another half an hour probably to.
Well, I'm gonna make my move now.
Okay.
Give the people what they want. I'm gonna do Salah to Fernandes. I've got my plan of getting De Bruyne and Vardy in next week. But here you go. I'm doing it right now. You can hear the clicks on my mouse. Salah to Fernandes.
Do you get that kind of when you make a transfer? Do you have that any sinking feeling sometimes? You go, oh, actually, I immediately regret that. I'm not saying you should have it now, but
I don't normally. I just to show. Here you go, Fernandes.
Yeah, that's fine. Proved it. Yeah.
There you go. He's in.
What's the team? Go and read the team out then. What you starting?
So my team for this week is going to be Martinez in goal, Chilwell, Semedo, Lamptey, Fernandes captain, Son, Ziyech, Grealish, Kane, Calvert-Lewin, and either Mopay or Suchek. It's probably
so you don't have. Did you not have Kane before then?
Yeah, Kane's there.
Oh, Kane's there, right? Okay.
Yeah, Kane, Calvert-Lewin, and Mopay.
So you've got Kane and Son going into that game, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I got the double.
See, that could work for you. See, that could work for you.
You could do.
Because again, like none of the wild cards have got Kane and Son in. None of them will have them.
Paul Tinkler, Mark plays with as like a cat and mouse.
I'm not playing. No. What? Do they think I've talked you into the?
No,
Fernandes.
To be fair, you probably could talk me into
you have had about 4 beers to my one.
Moves. Yeah, but no, Fernandes was kind of always the plan. I mean, I think like you say, it's whether you're that adverse to taking extra hits. I mean, I've never been someone who's kind of shied away from a hit. So if I need an extra hit for getting Salah, then I'll just kind of do it.
And Severt has captained Fernandes this week. I spoke to him earlier.
But I don't necessarily think that Fernandes is just a 3-week punt.
No,
I think he could be in my team for quite a long time.
Yeah, he's not going to be a player you're going to hate to own. It's just a Salah thing for me is a worry that I'm probably going to want him back, and I don't know who I would lose. I mean, I can sell Kane and get rid of Podence and upgrade him maybe, right? But I'd have to go Kane to like a Bamford, which nothing wrong with that. So I can move money around in my team. I'd have to probably get rid of one of Dina as well. So I can. And I guess with Salah maybe out next week as well, it gives us a bit of time. It gives me a bit of time to manoeuvre some more money around. Kane, though, I mean, Kane.
Well, we don't hope he's out, but right. Makes it easier. It makes it easier for us if he is.
It does make us easier, and I think a lot of people. I mean, I'm selling him. I mean, I can do that move now because I'm going to do that move anyway, right? So I'll see your Salah to Fernandes, and I will do my transfer now. But as I was saying, Kane, how are you feeling about Kane and getting rid of him? Because I'm worried I'm going to do something silly here.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of my things on our black box lessons was don't sell a player in form. And can you get a more informed player?
This is exactly it. I want to. If we'd been doing a normal show this week, I'd have been showing some data which is just ridiculous. So compared to last season, every single stat is up. Right?
Yeah.
Minutes per goal, minutes per shot, minutes all like that. And then I looked at his best ever season, because remember the best ever season was 16-17. I think he got 29 goals. He got a goal every 80. Here we got a goal every 87 minutes that season. So he got a goal a game effectively that season. Ridiculous, right? But even in that season, the only stats that were higher than this season were minutes per shot on target, which in 2016 he had a shot on target every 43 minutes. This season it's every 47 minutes. So it's only tiny little bit out. The only other stat where it was higher was minutes per penalty area touch, which he had a penalty area touch every 16 minutes compared to 18 minutes this season. So again, only tiny bit out. So in a season where he scored every 90 minutes, he still wasn't matching the stats that he's producing this season. So arguably, statistically, he's having his best ever season right now. And you add to that more penalties, because there are more penalties, and he's getting assists, and he's never had assists before. So not only is he doing more than he's ever done in terms of goal threat statistically, he's also get the chance of having more penalties and more assists. So I
know. I mean,
I don't think I can get rid.
No, it's. I mean, all of that is brilliant. I mean, again, Andy and I were talking about it on the stream yesterday, and it's not like we think Spurs are suddenly going to stop scoring goals and Kane's going to suddenly stop scoring goals. You're looking at the potential of the players you're bringing in for him. And I do think if you're looking at them side by side, Vardy, De Bruyne and Fernandes are better options than the Spurs players. I mean, we talk about West Ham's fixtures at the start of the season and how rough they were. I mean, it is a bad run of games for Spurs. Like, really, really bad. I mean, City at home, Chelsea away, Arsenal at home, Palace away, Liverpool away, Leicester at home, Wolves away. I mean, that is brutal, brutal run. And I just don't know what a Mourinho team's going to do in those games. I can't see them scoring 2 or 3 goals a game across that run. I think he's going to be happy and take a 1-0 or even some draws across those.
I'm just going to have a look to see.
Top four's the aim. They're not title contenders. I don't believe that they're good enough to challenge for the title.
Well, it depends where they are when they come out of this spell, doesn't it? Right?
Yeah,
this is the make
where they're going to come out of this spell isn't going to be the top 4. I don't think.
Well,
you think they'll come out of this top 4?
No, I don't think that, but I wouldn't want to put my house on it. I mean, with Kane in the form he's in and Son's playing well, I mean, have they got any injury concerns at the moment? I think they've got a pretty fit squad at the moment. They've got a big bloody squad as well. I don't know. I mean, I think they're a match for anybody right now in terms of attacking potential. Just defensively, you got your doubts, haven't you? That's the thing. Against the top 6 last season, I'm just looking how Kane performed. Because obviously last season was...
Granville's in the chat. He says I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
So Granville, you reckon that Spurs are going to be top 4 come game week 16? I
think they could be. I think I don't think we can confidently say they won't be.
I can.
You reckon? So you think that they're not going to win any of these games? Kane's record against
no. I don't think they're not going to win any of the games, but I don't think they're going to win enough games to stay in the top 4. I think there's other teams around who you've got Chelsea, you've got Man City, you've got Liverpool, you've got Leicester, you've got United, you've got that's probably about it, isn't it? But you've got Everton if they can carry on, if they can start picking up a bit. There's plenty of other teams who can climb up the table quickly and have easier fixtures.
I'm willing to bet you a sum of money on an object on them being in the top 4 by
and how
game
about
week
20
16.
quid to charity?
All right. Well, I'll give you another donation to you. You won't be doing it then anyway, will you?
I won't be doing it. No.
Can't do that. No.
I was very generous with you, though.
But by then your moustache will be like Minga Merciless by game week 16. That would be really good if you. But I will. Yeah, I'll donate. Well, 20 quid for charity then.
20 quid for charity. Yeah, I don't think come game week 16 Spurs will be top
4. I think they will. I look at these fixtures and I think they can get a result at home to Arsenal, right? And they can get a result at Palace. I reckon they can win both those games. Chelsea away. it's hard to call. I think. I mean, they could get a point there at least. And Leicester at home, they could get something. I mean, they could get a win there on a good day. It's not a given they're going to lose all these games. I think Liverpool away and this City game, yes.
I
But
don't. I don't
against all
think.
the
That,
other
I don't
matches,
think they're going to lose. I don't think they're going to lose all the games. But I think there's games there where Mourinho is going to be happy with a point, and that includes City, Chelsea, Liverpool, and Leicester. I think he'd take a point in those games.
I don't know how much Mourinho's tactics are at play in this Spurs team anymore. I look every time I think, because I went into this season expecting Spurs to be completely different to they are, and it's almost as if they've stumbled on this formula with Kane and Son working the way they are, and you throw Bale in as well. That I don't think they're a team capable of enacting those kind of tactics anymore. I think they've got to attack with those players, and I don't think they're capable of playing the way Mourinho used to play. And I think he's realised that, and he's gone, well, I mean, obviously they've tightened up defensively. Like I've seen some data this week that shows that, but they have played Burnley and West Brom away, right? So, you know, I think they can go to those games and think, well, we can nick a goal and we'll manage the game out like City did. You know, it's like City have been doing. I don't think they need to score 3 or 4 goals in those games. But I think at home and against teams like Chelsea and against teams like Leicester and against teams like Arsenal, they'll know they've got to score more than 1 goal. They're not going to play that way there. They're going to go for goals because they know that's their strength. So I think the strength of this Tottenham side is scoring more than the opposition. I think Mourinho realises that now.
It's interesting you say that, though, but I mean, like you look at their last couple of games and they haven't done that. Like
I know, but it's Burnley and West Brom.
They've tightened up, if anything. I mean,
I know.
3-0 up against West Ham, they're like gung ho. Everyone's going, oh my god, Spurs, they're going to win the league, the best team ever. They concede 3 goals.
I wasn't saying that. I was like, why didn't I get Kane and Son? That's what I was saying.
They concede 3 goals to West
Ham. I was hating that game.
I know. Well, I had Son captain that game. It was quite nice. They concede 3 goals, and since then, I would say it's been. For Spurs to be where they are, to have got 3 wins after that is a miracle, because they were not impressive against Burnley. They were not impressive against Brighton in any way, and they were not impressive against West Brom at all. So you talk about them having to score goals. I mean, they've only managed 4 goals against Burnley, Brighton, and West Brom.
Yeah, but my point is,
I think to enter an awful run. So,
but I think the way Mourinho set his team up to approach those matches is going to be very different to the way he's going to set them up against better opposition.
So you think he's going to attack? He's going to attack better opposition?
I think he's going to have to, isn't he? I think, in a way, yeah, because I don't think they're going to go against City and go defensive. I think they're going to go on the attack. Yeah,
that's not what he does, though. That's not.
Well, I know it isn't. I know exactly, but the trouble is, whenever I've tried to read Spurs this season, they found me out. I'm done exactly. I mean, just. The game at Southampton and the game at Old Trafford, I don't expect them to score that many goals in those games, and they did. And you look at the United game, you think, well, when are they've won this, so they can put the handbrake on, but they didn't. They just kept going and going again against 10 men. So you wouldn't expect that of a Mourinho team. But I wonder how much influence he's got on this. I wonder whether Kane and Son are just like, we're going for this, and we're in charge here. We're not taking the handbrake off. We're attack.
Yeah. Masha's Bowl in the chat says, but they got the job done, which I think is the key difference between them and any other season Spurs have played in. When they're not playing well, they're still grinding out results.
See, I wonder about this and City and Guardiola as well. I wonder whether managers, because of the workload, are looking at matches in a different way and going, right, when we go to West Brom, we'll score a couple of goals, then we'll just manage it out. When we look at those City fixtures and we go, we've got to have a City player in them. Is Guardiola going to go, right, let's win these games 4 or 5-0? I don't know. Maybe just get a couple of goals and then go, right, let's just sit back and play away.
You look at it as kind of like a weakness, but I mean, the thing is, I mean, I didn't watch. To be fair, I didn't watch too much of the Spurs West Brom game, but I did watch the Spurs Brighton game, and Brighton played well. Brighton outplayed Spurs for the majority of the game, and I would actually argue that Burnley did as well in the game I watched of Spurs and Burnley. So I know, like, okay, if you've got a City team and they're dominating possession, but they're not going for the kill and they only win 1-0, then you kind of think, okay, well that might be Pep kind of saying we've got the 1-0, let's kind of keep it. But when you've got Spurs like 1-0 up or 1-1 or whatever, and really struggling against a team, that's when you think, well, this isn't going to last. They can't play this badly against top sides like they've got in the next few games and expect to win or get points. So it's going to be really interesting to see. I mean, this Spurs City game, I think, is going to be really, because if Spurs get the win in that, which I don't think is completely impossible, I think Spurs could potentially win that game. If they do win that game, then okay, I'll hold my hands up and say, well, maybe I was wrong.
I think this is an interesting fixture. It's come at the right time, because I think you're right. I don't think like much of this season, we can't have any certainties. I don't think when they, that West Ham game was a really interesting one, because to be pegged back the way they were, it was almost like that first half they were like, they were blitzed West Ham, and I was like head in my hands thinking I didn't expect Spurs to do this. I thought West Ham were going to go there and get a result, beat them 2-1 or something, and Spurs in the first 15-20 minutes were like brilliant, and I was like, I got this.
We both brought in Son, though, didn't we? Because I remember.
Yeah, okay. We had that.
For De Bruyne, didn't we? Because he got injured. I remember in the FPL show.
We did. Yeah. But I wasn't expecting Spurs to play as well as they did and blitz West Ham in that first half. And when that first half went by, I was like, I've got Spurs completely wrong here. And then they had the second half where they were dreadful and West Ham outplayed them and got back into the game. So it's almost like they're a team I don't really know how to define what they are yet, because like you say, they haven't played well in the 3 games that have followed that, and they've won them and managed them and got through them. But this City game is, this is that they're going to have to show something different to get anything out of City game, aren't they?
Because I don't think Spurs are going to win at City. I think City are going to beat them, and bring them back down to earth a bit. I think it's a good game for City to have in something that actually means something for them to because if City lose against Spurs, they're like mid-table. When was the last time a Pep team was mid-table? It's you've got the rivalry as well between Mourinho and Pep, and City have a better overall team than Spurs do. So I'm expecting City to win it. I wouldn't be that surprised if Spurs could win it, but I'm expecting City to win it. Do you think Spurs are going to win that game then?
I think they've got a better chance than in any other season, well, in recent seasons, yeah. Because I think the City aren't firing on all cylinders. They're not creating as much as they have been in previous seasons. Something's wrong with Sterling, it seems. Obviously, they'll start with Jesus, I imagine, but that's their only option up top. So I think City, it's a good time to play City. I think defensively they look strong, but we'll see. This is the sternest test they're going to have. I mean, the biggest test to this point has been Leicester, and they got found out. So
Luke Trineman in the chat, as thinks Spurs is in a relegation battle. No, I don't think Spurs are in a relegation battle, but I don't think they're in a title battle. I think they're in a top 4 battle for sure.
I think someone's going to win this game 2-1, but I'm not confident who it's going to be. And I just think Kane and Son are just a lot to handle, and we'll see how City are defensively. We'll learn a lot about Spurs attacking vigour and how much Mourinho is going to go for it, and we'll learn about the City defence and whether or not they're going to stand up to it.
Because Cancelo's exciting, isn't he? I mean, you mentioned him, and I remember I was on the Scoutcast, and Karan picked him as a differential. And I was kind of like, he's too much rotation risk. And then you mentioned him, and I was like, nah, he's too much of a rotation risk. But now he's looking pretty good, isn't he?
Yeah, well, you get him for those City fixtures, and I can't see City conceding in the games that they've got coming up. I can't see Burnley scoring at the Etihad. And obviously after that they got United, didn't they? But following that, it is, who do they play? They're at home to West Brom, and they're at home to...
It's ridiculous. West Brom, it's Burnley, West Brom and Fulham.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
And to me, those 3 teams have got the least threat in the league, probably. Yeah, I mean, I can't think of a side who's got the least goal threat. So they'll keep clean sheets in those games. It's just whether Cancelo's going to play every single one of those games. You'd hope so. I mean, Mendy will be back, I guess, And Mendy's not a player who comes back and is fit straight away, is he? So when he's even when you see Mendy training, he's probably a month away. So
yeah, I know. I refuse to believe that Mendy is any real competition to Cancelo. I think Zinchenko is more of a competition. So Cancelo gets a rest in for the Champions League.
But he's playing Zinchenko in Champions League at the moment. So
well, yeah,
that's
exactly.
how it's worked.
Yeah, yeah.
So unless he swaps that,
it's likely to continue, right? Because they're doing well with the Champions League, and once they've got it secure, the group, then they don't need to play him.
Now, Cancelo's coming in for me, not next week.
I mean, because I've got Semedo, so Semedo to Cancelo normally would be a really simple move. It's just because I'm doing other things like hokey cokey and in Vardy and Fernandes and Salah and De Bruyne and all this stuff that my defence. I'm trying not to make so many defensive transfers, but yeah, I mean, if I had a transfer to use and I had like a 5.5 million defender or someone that I could upgrade like Zuma or someone like that, then yeah, after this Spurs game, I'd be grabbing Cancelo for sure.
Again, I was on the Surgery podcast and I said I think the main source of differentials is in defence, because I think midfield there's a template there, and up front it's going to be Vardy and Calvert-Lewin for most wildcard teams, I would have thought, or Vardy and Richarlison, right?
Yeah.
Or they're going to go Watkins, Bamford. No, what a disastrous signing that was for you. Watkins, Bamford, and Calvert-Lewin, or something. There's 3 or 4 players, isn't there, up front, and there's a midfield template. So it's in defence where you've got a chance of being different. But everyone's got. I think any wild card's going to look at Cancelo. Chilwell's in there. I've got Dina and James, and at the moment they're okay. They could be good differentials for me if James turns up. I mean, your theory, if that comes true again, I can't believe it. If he doesn't play,
that's it. I'm putting it out there. I reckon.
I know.
With Thiago out, I reckon James bench has Azpilicueta in.
I'd be so pissed off. Surely not. What has Reece James got to do to convince Lampard that he can't drop? I don't think so. I think it's over. I think the key for James is Ziyech, right? Ziyech tucks inside, and he needs James's pace to provide the width. I can't even say it. Dave is all right, especially not on a beer and at 12:30. Dave is all right down that flank. Thank God we can call him Dave.
Yeah,
he's all right down that flank, but he's not Reece James. He hasn't got the engine. He hasn't got the pace.
But couldn't you also argue that Ziyech provides more quality down the right, so they don't need James? But
he's not a wide player.
But they need the solidarity in defence with Thiago out, because they're going to be playing what?
That's
Zuma, and it's going to be Zuma and who? Zuma and
Christensen, probably.
Yeah, I mean Christensen. God, he's not good. He is not a good football player.
Yeah, but how much is Newcastle going to create? I don't know. I mean, I do they have to worry about?
They've struggled. They've struggled in games where Thiago hasn't played and Azpilicueta hasn't.
I know.
Played.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think honestly, I think it's 50-50. I think it's.
Do you?
I think Thiago is key for James playing. I think if James starts and Thiago's out, I think that's big news for James. I think it makes him much more of an option.
Yeah. I mean, the way I look at it, if he doesn't turn up, as long as he doesn't come on, I've got Ayling going to Arsenal. It's not disastrous, is it? There'll be other people starting Ayling or Dallas.
Unless he gets 1 minute.
I think he only got 1 minute in that game because they didn't have a central midfielder on the bench, and they brought him on in central midfield. And I think when you look at their bench, they've got players that will come on in front of James now, because Giroud will probably come on for Abraham. Actually, they haven't got Havertz, have they? So maybe their bench will be a bit threadbare. So there's a chance, I guess, but I'll risk it. I think he's 70-30 he plays. So
is it? Everyone's saying Rudiger in the chat.
Yeah, it could be Rudiger. Yeah,
I don't think Lampard likes him.
No, I think he's down the pecking order. Yeah,
and Tomori as well. I mean, you look at Tomori last season; like he broke into team. I had him in my fantasy team for a fair bit because he was cheap. He did all right. I think he got me a couple of clean sheets, but again, doesn't seem to have any faith from Lampard. I think Christensen is the favoured one, despite him.
Yeah, he'll play.
Being terrible.
Unless he plays Dave centre back, which he could do, but I doubt it. But
I don't think he'd do that in a 4 though. Really,
I wouldn't have thought so.
Just
go on.
I was going to say, just a quick shout out. We've got 1,500 people watching the stream right now.
Jesus Christ! What, at 12:30?
I know, amazing.
Bloody hell.
Friday night.
This is obviously the niche that we should fill every week.
It must be
just
so
turn up.
It's been partners upset. This is the niche.
Crazy.
I think it's because other content makers are too clever to do a any kind of research for a
course they
Friday
are.
night stream, or
Yeah.
have lives, unlike us.
Yeah, but I'm up for doing more of these, as long as we
Yeah,
can get it
definitely.
more polished than this. I mean, it's
What do
just
you mean?
we
It's been faultless.
if we had to, it's so frustrating because I did loads of prep for this week's show and I
Yeah, I
got
know you
loads of
did.
really good
I know.
data. It's so annoying, and it's all going to be thrown out now because obviously it's out of date next week. I just hope we can get it up and running for next week. And one question: should I play Booster over Podence? Booster might start at home to West Ham. I saw that in the comments. No, I don't think so either. No.
I think you play. I think you play.
I've got to play
Podence.
Podence, haven't I? Bloody hell!
He's got. I mean, Bruce is a flag. Got a flag, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got a flag. Yeah, I think if he hadn't got a flag, he was definite starter. Then I would think about it. But with the flag, I can't risk it. I mean, even if Brewster starts, he'll get as long as Podence. He'll get an hour. It's funny that they're bringing in the 5 subs. I'm like, bloody hell, that'll be it. Podence is never going to play more than an hour. It's like having him is awful because you think, well, he blanks in the first half, then you think I've got 15 minutes here, and you just watch that clock get up to 60 minutes. You go, here we go.
That's the thing, and that's what really puts me off someone like Jota as well. I mean,
does it?
Yeah, like Jota and Foden and they're players who, I mean, like Mahrez last season. I mean, Mahrez got 160, 170 points last season, but I never really felt like he got like a great run in the team. He'd come off the bench and score a goal. He'd miss the next game, he'd start the next one, get 60 minutes, do okay in that. He did well when he played, which I think is going to be what's happened. I think that's going to be what happens with Foden and Jota. I mean, again, a lot of this I'm just repeating from my stream with Andy last night, but I look at what is Liverpool's strongest team and what is City's strongest team. Does it feature Foden and Jota? Probably not.
Oh no, I'd have thought Foden is in Pep's strongest team, but I don't think he does think that.
Well, exactly. I thought it was at the start of the season, but it seems like he is being more cautious with De Bruyne, Rodri, and Gundogan or Fernandinho or whoever. I thought Foden would fill that David Silva role more than he has. I mean, to be benching 3 consecutive games, I wouldn't have put any money on that because I thought this is going to be his kind of breakthrough season, and I still think it is going to be his breakthrough season because he's too good. He's literally just too good to not.
You'd think, yeah.
But would you want him in your team though? I guess is the question.
No, I don't think any wild card would have Foden in them at the moment. And if you got Foden, you'd be looking at him like Podence. He's a player you think it's a problem for me. I'm not as bad as Podence. I mean, I think when Foden starts, he'll get returns, whereas Podence, it's not the case necessarily. But yeah, I'd rather have Jota than Foden, to be honest, at the moment, especially with Salah out. I think Jota could be a good bet for the next 2. And again, I've made 1 transfer live already. I haven't made my second yet. I could keep Son. I could go Podence to Jota. I could go Podence to basically, how much have I got in the bank? Let's have a look. If I sell Podence, I've got 2.8 in the bank, right? So I can go Podence to Ziyech now, right? Can do that.
Our teams would be so similar if you do that.
But if I do that, and I want De Bruyne next week, I've got to take a hit to get De Bruyne, because I can't do Alexander-Arnold to Cancelo and Son to De Bruyne. So I'd have to. I don't know what I just. To be honest, I don't see what I could do. I'd have to get rid of Fernandes for De Bruyne.
I just think if you think Spurs are gonna stay in the top 4, which you clearly do, then surely you've got to keep one of them.
Well, I'm going to keep Kane. I'm going to keep Kane for the
You're
duration.
You're going to keep Kane, so there's no plans to get rid of Kane.
No.
Wow.
Not really. Not unless you
love
struggle.
Kane, don't you?
Look at the data. I mean, if I don't keep
look
him,
at the data.
Yeah, the data is ridiculous. And
it is. No, I know it is. Yeah, he'd be the one I'd keep out of the 2 for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of people saying Son on the break, counter-attacking football. That's the way Josie's going to set up. Yeah, it could well be. It could be, but we don't know for sure. What we do know for sure is Kane is an animal at the moment, right? So I think I'll go for the certainty, which is Kane's form at the moment and the penalties, right? I think that, to me, if in the next couple of games I see that actually the Kane is deep and Son is the threat, then yeah, okay, that theory was correct, and maybe it's time to get rid of Kane. But I need to see a couple of games to prove that. For me, I just think Kane will still have shots against the stronger teams, and he's taking pens, of course. I've got no reason to think that Kane won't go on getting goals over the next 4 or 5 games, regardless of the fixture at the moment.
No, I don't. So. I don't blame you. I mean, I think I wrote that black box learning of not selling players in form because of Odion Igalo and how I sold him, and he had he had a hard run, and the comparison,
it's an obvious link.
Yeah, it's an obvious link. So if I'm basing that off selling, not saying okay, I need to not sell Odion Igalo, and then you've got Kane in the form he's in. I do completely get it. Yeah, I mean a couple of questions in the chat for you. So Alex Tellez.
Yeah, interesting one. Again, I think the theory here is, and this is an interesting theory, and it's late risers theory, that Tellez will provide more width down that left flank, and Rashford will tuck in more. That's the theory, right?
So boost Rashford.
Yeah, boost Rashford. It's a good one because Tellez is a far more attacking fullback and more accomplished going forward than Luke Shaw. And therefore, does that mean Rashford doesn't have to stay out wide? He can drift inside a lot more, and then he'll get more chances in the box as a result of that. I like that theory, and it might be the case, but I don't think I can go in on Tellez or on Rashford off the back of that theory yet. I think we've got to see it in practice, because the counter I put to that is when Doherty went to Spurs, we were all like, oh, brilliant. He's definitely going to be playing like Aurier is down that right-hand side. And if he's in the box as much as Aurier, he's going to be better and more effective. Well, that didn't happen, did it? Right. So we can't automatically go, well, Tellez is going to have license to bomb forward and Rashford's going to tuck inside. It could well be the case. But we've got to wait and see, I think. I don't think we can make a presumption. So I'm not going in on Tellez yet. But, I love my attacking fullbacks. And from what I've seen of this guy, he's going to be right up my street. But the only drawback is he plays for United. So,
and the question is, what does he do for Fernandes? Because we've seen signs from very limited appearances from him that his set piece delivery is on point. I mean, that Champions League game where he's his corners are just so dangerous that I don't think Fernandes is going to have the same monopoly that he does.
I kind of hope that's the case, because Fernandes is the one I want to get rid of for Salah, and so I kind of hope that I see on Saturday. Is it Saturday? Yeah, Saturday. That Fernandes gets me returns, but Tellez is sharing set pieces, and then I will think, oh, okay, well I can. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, Tellez is one to watch, right? I think, regardless of whether you've got Fernandes or not, his performance at the weekend would be really interesting. I say the weekend, it is the weekend. It's 1:45. Let me just make my transfer before
here we go.
So I've done Fernandes in. I'm just going to get. There's a lad called De Bruyne who's not bad. I'm going to get him in midfield. Take a punt on him.
Taking Son out. Top 4 Son.
It's done. So my team for tomorrow's deadline is McCarthy, Chilwell, James, who was certain to play, of course. Yeah. Dina, Fernandes, captain. Grealish, De Bruyne, vice captain. Maybe not vice captain. It's on Calvert-Lewin, actually. De Bruyne, Souček, mighty Souček.
Can I just say really quickly that I was absolutely devastated when Souček scored that goal last week.
Oh, brilliant.
I thought he was on my bench, first on my bench, and I knew you had him, and I was watching that game, and I thought, I'm going to escape this. Mopé's blanked. I'm going to escape.
He was terrible as well.
I know. And then literally the ball just comes to him, he just slots it in, and that's the way, like 9 points. And it was like a dagger to the heart. There you go. Just so you know, it really.
Well, really, and it was funny when Benrahma laid it back, and the guy stroked it in. I was like, "That's Souček, isn't it?" And I immediately was like, "That's him. That's Souček stroking it," because the finish was so controlled.
Yeah.
That I had my doubts at first, because I was like, well, he he is actually a very accomplished finisher, right? But so I shouldn't really have my doubts. But there was just the way, just a flicker of his, was that Suchek? Because he was a big bloke, and I thought immediately, and when he ran away, I was like, oh my god, what a moment! Last minute goal. That's what you want, isn't it?
The worst moment.
Yeah, it was fortunate, right? It was because he had a bad game. He wasn't really showing up at all, apparently. Whereas in other games, he actually has been a factor and been unlucky. Has been. But anyway, it's happened. Right. So yeah, Grealish, De Bruyne, Suchek, Podence, Kane, and Calvert.
Let's play that down.
But Podence could have, like, you just never know. And Wolves are the Monday night game, and so in that game, I'm going to have McCarthy in goal and Podence in midfield. That's all right. It's all right. Is he going to be? He's going to be one of those players that sticks around because you've always got something else to do, isn't he? And like, next week I can play Brewster.
1-0 Jimenez.
Yeah, probably. Like I say, Brewster will probably play next week for me because he's at West Brom. So I don't have to play Podence next week. So that's all right. And then hopefully in a couple of weeks' time I can get rid because I haven't got anything else to do. So we'll see. I think we ought to draw this to a close. And
I mean, 1,500 watching, 338 likes. That's not 1,500 likes. So if you could all like, and if you could all
immediately.
subscribe.
You're cheeky asking for subscriptions off the back of this
ramshackle. I think we've pulled it round. I would say the last hour, I'd say we've been... if people are just tuning in for the last sort of hour, I think these guys are running a smooth operation. There's been no issues. But then they might flick back to the first sort of 15 minutes.
Yeah, well, the thing is, to be fair, it takes about 10 minutes to take your eyes off that moustache, doesn't it? So that's
I know. Yeah, so I've got another sort of 10 days of the moustache. So I've put a link to the Movember in the chat. I hit my target actually of 500. I've upped the target now to. I mean, if I could get anywhere close to £1,000, that would be literally amazing. So if people have enjoyed the stream and want to donate to my Movember for men's mental health, I'm going to post one more link to my Movember right now. I'd really appreciate the donations. But yeah, I've had loads of donations. It's been really nice. Mark, you were very generous. Andy's donated lots of.
I got you up to the 500. Yeah, and also, I want to say. Last week we didn't stream because I was unwell, and I put on Twitter about the condition I had, and I had amazing reception to that. So really thanks to everyone who posted in support of that, and also I opened my DMs up and I got a lot of nice messages, and also a few people who had similar conditions that I've been swapping conversations with over the time, including an old friend from the old Scoutcast days. It was really good to hear from him. I won't name him here, but yeah, he had a similar condition to me, so I've been able to chat to him. So that was really good. So thanks for the reaction and support for that.
It is genuinely really nice having you back. Like, we've got our banter and we've got our stuff, but like it's great doing these. I really enjoyed them, and yeah, it's fantastic having you back. And
this is why it's so frustrating. That the
internet
down for me. I know. I'm so angry because I so look forward to doing these. I'm so enjoying doing, and I've got the surgery one done on Monday, and I've got a few more podcast appearances coming up. I'm getting lots of invites to go on people's podcasts now, which is great. I'm a gun for hire. I'll do anybody's podcast.
Yeah.
So if you want me on
next week,
FPL show next week. We're both on next week, aren't we? That'll be good. I think Ian's hosting that again, and they're getting new faces on as well. I see Carly was on this week, wasn't she, from the Three Amigos?
Yeah, did you watch it? It was great.
Yeah,
really
good.
Absolutely brilliant.
It's great seeing more of the community featuring in that and getting the recognition of the.
And Josh Paxman's on with us next week.
Is he?
Well, he's video.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, for the surgery.
Really cool.
So it's good. It's great to see these people on there and all the work they put in, the hard work they do on their content, which is brilliant. So good. It's all very well. It's all going well. I'm all pleased. I'm pleased to be back and part of it. I just want to get my internet connection back and we can get back to.
Impressive Tackle says we should get a room.
Yeah, I know. If we've got a room, at least it might have an internet connection.
Yeah, to be fair, it would really help. We should look into that.
I know how Andy feels now. I mean, Andy's amazing to be doing his streams he does on 4G. I don't know how he does it. So yeah.
He was telling me yesterday that like his neighbours have the fibre, as my parents would say. But all the people around him have fibre, and it's like his house, which is
that
kind of alienated, from the thing. So he was telling me that he emailed the CEO of his company, of the company he's with, to try and get them to install it.
I would be
it's a
so
nightmare,
annoyed
isn't
at
it?
that. Well, to be honest, I'm in that boat now because when the workman cut my cable, I said, "Oh, is it the whole street?" "Oh no, just your house." And I said to him, "Does that happen a lot? Does it this?" I said to him, "Oh, this must happen a lot." Because he said, "I'll get the engineer out, it'll be an hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours." And I said, "Oh, so this happens a lot, does it?" He went, "Oh no, we haven't done this for about 3 or 4 months." I'm like, "Oh, thanks a lot. That makes me feel so much better." If he said, "Yeah, we do this all the time," sadly, it's a common occurrence.
I can't understand what they did. Like they just
Well, he
literally
had a
cut
massive,
through your
he had a
yeah.
massive, he had a massive digger. He had one of those, like those little diggers that are kind of like
Yeah.
a transformer. He had one of those, and his mate was looking. When I opened the door, his mate looked at me. I was like, "Oh shit!" He's realised, and then the bloke on the truck was like, "Oh yeah, sorry, mate. We'll get an engineer out." Oh, so
Nightmare.
annoying. So
Absolute
anyway,
nightmare.
we'll see. We'll get it fixed. It might be months, but we'll get there in the end. And in the meantime, you can host and do another slick kind of
It's just
presentation.
effortless. I mean,
I
the
know
thing
it's
is,
going to get better.
you put me on the spot asking me to
Oh, I
do
know.
like scene
I know. You did
transitions and
brilliantly.
bring out things. I
No,
mean, that was never going to go well. But I think if we want something like this, I think I can quite comfortably
I think you
set
did
this
well
up.
to turn it out and get it out there. So in the time we had, I'll coach you over the weekend and we'll get this up and running again. And then eventually, well, it's good that we can both do it. We can take it in turns, and
Yeah.
you're in control, so you can bring up on the screen anything you like now.
I
And
know.
so I'll just yeah.
I'm
So
afraid to. I'm afraid to go to do anything.
yeah,
I'll lose our video if I try and press anything. I don't know what
you'll
happened
be all
there.
right.
But yeah,
You'll be fine.
I'll get there. I'll get there.
Anyway, best of luck for the game week, kind of. But,
Yeah, same to you.
everyone's going to say I'll talk you into Fernandez, and I resent that. But I know that's what they're going to
That's
say.
not what happened. If
So
people say
when
that,
he
I'm not
blanks, he'll
happy.
be, "Oh, that's my
Oh,
engagement."
what's my go? Oh God,
I know
this is
it's
the
one of
problem
my.
with doing these streams with you. Everyone thinks you're like
I
constantly in
know.
my head.
Everyone thinks I'm some kind of schemer. I'm really not. I don't know.
I'm bringing in
Don't know why.
Pedence though.
Yeah, he's gonna bang, isn't he? He's gonna make me eat my words. Yeah. All right. Good night for
Good
me.
night, everyone. Thanks very much for sticking with us.